Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the biggest reveal of Swell that on the second day, anyway. It's debatable as to what you think the biggest news coming out of Swell was. There's lots of good stuff in terms of MoneyGram talking about how by the end of 2019, they're going to be opening several additional corridors. There was news of additional adoption. You had all sorts of on-demand liquidity customers talking, just praising XRP, all sorts of very interesting stuff. But this piece of news, even if you don't think it's the biggest news of the entire event, it definitely was on the second day of the two-day event here. Take a look at this headline, RippleNet Home. Ripple introduces revolutionary product for connecting its clients. And so I watched a video from fellow XRP community member, Mr. BXRP. I pulled him up on the screen here right now. He just started his channel. The first thing he ever posted was 20 hours ago. And it was a 2-minute and 22-second video of the announcement at Swell in Singapore of RippleNet Home. That's what this 2-minute and 22-second video was. And after I watched it, now I'll get into the details in this article, but after watching that, I remember thinking to myself, so it's basically like LinkedIn, except for like banks and remittance companies, financial institutions. That's what it sounds like. And I think, having read through the article, a couple articles on this earlier, and having watched the video, it looked to me that it was explicitly for RippleNet customers, I believe. So if I'm mistaken on that, I apologize if I get that wrong. But that's the way that I understand it to this point. This is all brand new information. And also, I want to say, hey, props to Mr. BXRP. Several days ago, I gave his channel a shout out here, and he had like 127 subscribers, but he had announced, and he's got a huge following on Twitter. He's got like 20,000 followers on Twitter, but he tweeted out, hey, because he's at Swell in Singapore, and he said, hey, I'm going to be putting some content out, so go ahead and subscribe now, even though I don't have any content yet. And so at that point, he had 127 subscribers. Now I just checked a few days later because I was watching this video. He has 1,480 subscribers already. Like, holy cow. Props to you, Mr. BXRP. And I'm sure it helped having to follow it on Twitter, certainly. But a shout out to you again. I understand, based on tweets put out by Mr. BXRP, he plans to continue putting out content. So I would definitely recommend subscribing. He's very knowledgeable, always putting out awesome stuff on Twitter. So I have no doubt that will continue on YouTube, should he indeed continue to keep posting videos. So I've got that. And then I want to talk about something that I talked about yesterday. We're going to expand upon this. The idea of XRP as a global reserve currency. I got into it a little bit yesterday, and it came about because of fellow XRP YouTuber Brad Kimes, who was also making a crypto documentary called Cryptonaires. He was invited by Ripple to the event, and he asked somebody directly about the concept on stage in front of a packed room, what the idea of XRP being a global reserve currency. So I've got some additional thoughts for myself and also a couple others in the XRP community I'm looking forward to sharing with you, and that's all I'm covering in this particular video. Before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, I think you are very cool, and I think that we should be friends. And the only way that can happen is if you subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. Let's do this. Let's make this dream a reality, all right? Let's do it. That's my pitch. RippleNet Home. Ripple introduces revolutionary product for connecting its clients. Cryptocurrency behemoth Ripple has unveiled a new product called RippleNet Home, which will allow its customers to connect and partner with each other. According to the presentation, which was shown during this year's Swell conference, RippleNet Home will allow companies to get insights about their payment flows and performance in real time. Thus, it allows businesses to improve their capabilities and expand their presence in different markets around the globe. The platform is useful for evaluating the size of the market and instantly finding the most suitable partners for the company's business growth. After performing due diligence, one can send a request and get connected. By teaming up with each other, RippleNet members can enjoy low rates and instant settlement via Ripple's on-demand liquidity service. And I would love to know the specifics of how that looks, because in the video, it showed utilization of this technology on a smartphone. It looked like an iPhone to me. And so they showed a few simple taps, and there you go, and now you're getting on-demand liquidity through someone or something like that. But I don't know specifically what they were trying to illustrate in their little 2-minute video that they did. because, of course, as we know, the liquidity is sourced from market makers, and maybe I just need to watch it again. Maybe I missed something, but I remember watching it and thinking, huh. But regardless, you can see why, having read the description, why I was like, oh, that's kind of like LinkedIn, but for Ripple customers, right? And so there you go. Anyway, as reported by you today, RippleNet now has more than 300 members, with 24 of them using on-demand liquidity for conducting cross-border payments with the help of XRP. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse claimed that 2019 was the strongest year for the company. All right, in the next here, I don't know, some of this was kind of overlap information. It's the same topic, but this one's from Tron Weekly here. And yeah, I probably don't really need to run through a whole lot of this. I just had it pulled up in case there's extra things that I wanted to talk through here as I was mapping out my videos for the day. But anyway, so the latest product is aimed to act as a point of confluence for users in the Ripple ecosystem so that transactions and requests are processed much faster. XRP Research Center also tweeted about the latest project, saying, quote, Ripple unveils brand new RippleNet Home. RippleNet Home will act as a hub where RippleNet members will be able to connect and partner with each other, analyze corridors, and access data analytics on their own transactions. Because, of course, what we're most excited about as XRP holders is the utilization of XRP. But don't forget, RippleNet there's more technology to it than that. Think about the payments portion, previously known as XCurrent, and so undoubtedly that's going to be a huge portion of this. The interface looked really clean, though. That's all I can say about that. If you watch Mr. B's video, again, here it is, Mr. B XRP. If you look him up on YouTube, you can watch his little 2-minute, 22-second video. And thank you, Mr. B, for sharing that. Very cool stuff here. And I think this was the same thing here. Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't. Yeah, so this is... Let me hop into the next topic I want to talk about. And again, I had a whole video about this yesterday. I'm not going to repeat everything that I said yesterday. If you want to know what I think about this again, the title of this, Ripple Swell 2019, Can XRP Be a Global Currency? IMF's Rajan, I'm not sure how to say it, answers. I had a video on this yesterday. I made my opinion on this pretty clear. So I have a couple additional things, but I also wanted to let a few other XRP community members chime in here, which I'm going to do by sharing their tweets. But anyway, Brad Kimes, like I said at the beginning of the video, he was asking about the concept. And I will read a couple very short comments that you can get caught up to speed, because the context of this all does matter. So here was the response from Dr. He is a doctor, right? I'm trying to remember that from yesterday. Where is he? Ripples. Yeah. I'm so sorry I'm missing this. I thought I'd find his name here at the top real quickly. Am I just blind? 159. Rajan. Anyway, his name. Oh, here we go. Well, maybe Raghuram Rajan, the former governor of Federal Reserve Bank of India and currently chief economist for the International Monetary Fund, IMF. And so he's asked about the possibility of XRP finding a place in global reserve like the dollar, but he said that it was not something that XRP was trying to become. And again, I'm not going to share my thoughts with this. I did this yesterday, but I wanted you need to know this, or else the rest of the video is not going to make sense. So anyway, here's a quote from him. What you're asking for is whether there is a possibility of a global currency, and to some extent that is what Libra was trying to do, and as I understand, that is different from what XRP is trying to do. Here's another quote from him. Once you get an army of regulators with every central bank looking at it, the other question is, have you added a whole set of transaction costs, and is it worth it? Is that useful? And then the last quote from him, as I understand it, what is attempted with XRP is not as much maintaining the value, but offering a vehicle for exchange, which is quite different, because then you can have value fluctuating. Only you need the value to be stable for 10 seconds while the whole transaction takes place, and as a result, there is no different need for regulations. You don't need to regulate value. I don't care. And so those were kind of the money quotes, if you will, from him. And so there was another XRP community member who tagged me, and his account has since gone missing, so I can't show you the original tweet, but he shared with me this Ripple Insights piece from February 28th, 2017, written by Miguel Villas, Ripple employee. He's the head of XRP markets, and the last sentence is all I really need to share with you. Here's the last sentence of this piece. And this is what's causing controversy. Most importantly, we remain more committed than ever to the simple goal of making XRP the world's reserve digital currency. There you go. The simple goal of making XRP the world's reserve digital currency. So people read that and they're thinking, oh my God, XRP replacing the United States dollar. in terms of its status as a global reserve currency, which is absolutely not what I was thinking, and I'm not on board with that concept because there's simply no evidence to that. And I know that there's some listening that are into the conspiracy theories and kind of like the fringe concepts out there, and I don't think that you're nutty, and it's okay to disagree, so I want to be super clear about that. But to me, there's just no evidence that's the direction that Ripple is going. I've actually had some people write that it's like they're secretly going that direction, and to me it's just like there's nothing there to that. I'm sorry, this is a non-hype channel and I can't get into like 10 hat type stuff there, and and that's to me that's far enough out there. It's so fringe that I would kind of categorize it out there. So no offense to you if you believe that stuff at all, just to be clear, but to me it's really far out there. It really is. And so here's what I did. I went ahead and I responded to this guy, and I appreciated and again, his Twitter account's gone now. Don't know what happened. But I responded, I first saw that last night when someone tagged me, and I appreciate you asking the question as well. And then I tagged Miguel Villas, head of XRP Markets at Ripple, on Twitter. I tagged him on Twitter and wrote, Miguel Villas, would you be willing to clarify what you meant in your comment that reads, making XRP the world's reserve digital currency? And to be clear, I was never expecting him to respond. He hasn't. I don't think he's going to. It's just like one of those shot-in-the-dark Hail Mary things, And then my next tweet was, I highly doubt that Miguel Villas intended for that statement to be read as many are taking it. More likely, it's an issue of nomenclature. I suspect he is differentiating between a world's reserve digital currency and a global reserve currency, which is the United States dollar. And so that's what I believed, and I suspected the way that he wrote it, I always believed that he was just talking about the utilization of XRP as we understand that Ripple is indeed positioning XRP to be used as a bridge currency. And so just the way that he wrote that, that caught attention for people that are willing to engage in like some of the more fringe concepts within the XRP community. That's the way I look at it anyway. And so then I tagged Galgatron, and in response to that, I wrote, thoughts on this, Galgatron? Because I respect his opinion. He's very knowledgeable, very insightful. So I just wanted to see if he had an additional take on that, and he did. Thoughts on this, Galgatron? This is coming up due to an audience question posed at Swell, which is covered in this article, and then I linked to the article I just showed you from AMB Crypto. And he responded with this. He came from a tech perspective, which isn't exactly what I expected, but makes a ton of sense, and it is insightful. So in response to the concept of XRP as a global reserve currency, digital reserve currency, whatever you want to call it, he writes, fantasy. XRP can't scale that much. They need to implement sharing to accomplish, I think he meant sharding, that sharding to accomplish that scale, and sharding is very hard. And then so I responded, thanks, Galgatron. What are your thoughts on what Miguel meant when he referenced XRP as the world's reserve digital currency? And mind you, he already stated from a tech perspective, doesn't make sense. Here's his response as far as like the issue that I wrote in terms of nomenclature when parsing out the words. So he responded to me, writing, Miguel's reserve currency statement means the role of providing liquidity for bridging at a global scale. People often confuse Miguel's statement for foreign reserves, where a government stockpiles mountains of foreign cash to protect their economy in case their currency flops. So Galgatron read it the exact same way as me, and I can understand where the confusion comes in, but I'm not really big on these fringe concepts. Like, I'm okay if people want to talk about that. I'm just saying for me personally, to me, it's possible to get way too far out into left field, and this is one of those things for me. I'm just like, no, pre-allocation theory, all that stuff, which I talked about yesterday, and you should check out that video. It's gotten a lot of attention. You should definitely check it out if you're curious to learn more about this topic and see what other people think about it. But from my perspective, no. And just be clear, I'm also not stating that a cryptocurrency couldn't become a global reserve currency, but what I'm stating is it would have to happen organically over time. And actually, let me go even further here, because I think I've got more tweets here. It actually goes further before I speak further. So let me share a couple more points of this. Here's a couple tweets from All the Way 08 on Twitter, XRP community member, on this topic. He writes, I feel like I've been obsessing on this topic a lot lately. But one last point, LOL. Global reserve currencies aren't agreed upon in advance. It just kind of spontaneously happens. After the United States economy rose to prominence, countries just started stockpiling the USD. Indeed, it did happen more or less organically, and I get why it happened. But part of the pre-allocation theory is that the world powers are just determining that XRP is the global reserve currency, and why and how and technologically how is that possible? And so anyway, And then there is this next tweet from All the Way Away. Here's an interesting point. He can be pretty insightful. And it was a retweet of something from J.C. Collins' Philosophy of Metrics. This guy is rather intelligent. Don't agree with him on literally everything, but man, he's sharp, and I agree with him on tons of stuff, like tons and tons of stuff. So you're going to want to hear this. Check this out. Please hang in there with me if I got just a few more minutes. This is interesting. So there's a tweet from fellow XRP YouTuber Michael I. Pinky 7. He wrote... it was a retweet in response to what he wrote about the question that was posed at Swell in front of a room full of people about the idea of XRP being perhaps a reserve currency one day. So he retweeted one of his own tweets about that and wrote this. Does this answer also kill the pre-allocation theory? Why would IMF hold XRP, it not being a reserve currency? And then somebody named Nazario Parisi responded, XRP makes useless the need for a reserve currency. That's why it'll replace United States dollar as favorite tool to exchange fiats. But central banks partnered with Ripple can have bought XRP with NDA. IMF can't hold it till XRP becomes official currency of a nation. Okay, now hang with me. So XRP Boy jumps in and writes, pretty sure that's exactly what Philosophy of Met has stated in one of his blogs. Going to be a whole new / different ball game soon. A new reality unfolds. And here you go. And J.C. Collins, this is Philosophy Metrics, he chimed in here. And this was today, this afternoon. And here's what he wrote. That's correct, my good friend. I've stated many times that the traditional role of a reserve currency will no longer be required at some point. So many people trying to apply the new to the old and are surprised when it doesn't fit. Part of the reason I stopped writing about it. Exactly. And so that's different. So if you're talking about the utilization of a cryptocurrency, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying conceptually it's even on the radar of the federal government of the United States. It's on the radar. It's not an immediate threat. That's what they perceive it as, and I agree with that. There's no reason to think it's an immediate threat. But as it continues to be proven that this asset class is here to stay, and liquidity increases and volatility decreases, as I'm confident will happen in the coming decades. I don't know how long it's going to take, but the frenzy around this will go away, and then price will stabilize, and within the crypto asset class, it'll be a lot less exciting to invest at that point. I think that's my guess anyway. And when all of that happens, it's possible that organically a cryptocurrency that's proven to have staying power could just organically get used in that capacity rather than hoarding stockpiles of fiat currency, in this case the United States dollar. And that's what he's talking about. Now conceptually, the idea of that, it's an idea. It's nothing that's crazy. It's nothing that's way fringe. What I think is fringe is when you start talking about Ripple having a secret plan to position XRP as a reserve currency and just force it when that's not traditionally, even in the old world, how global reserve currencies have come to be. Like, none of this makes any sense. To me, that's way too far out there. But if you're talking about organically cryptocurrencies, whether it's, pick your crypto, I don't even know what it would be. Maybe it would be a multitude of cryptocurrencies being used in place. I don't know. But conceptually, I can be on board with saying, okay, maybe that'll happen. We'll see. Because to me, that's not nutty in the least. But there we are. So that's pretty much it for this video. You can tell me what you think below. Tell me if you think I'm right or if you think I'm wrong. I love diversity of thought, so let's continue to think critically and share thoughts on this topic. I find it fascinating anyway. Well, that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!